Wellness Week. I always start with the song. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wellness Week Live. Magnus over here, me over there. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Don't be a fool. Do it. Hit the button. Tell people. So today, men's grooming tips, chest exercises, and what does the small intestine do? So these are the three things. We have our resident expert here, Magnus, and he knows all about this stuff. And he knows about grooming because look at him, man. I mean, he's got the hairdo, he's doing it. And that doesn't happen overnight. So let's start off with, I guess, the men's grooming tips since whatever, I mentioned it. Okay, now, the reason I wanted to bring this up, Magnus, is, look, you're a good-looking man. I'm a good-looking man. Hey, we're good-looking. That doesn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? And I went to, I'm going to try to make this very veiled. I don't want to show my cards here, but I went to, let's just say an event a while back. And, there was guys and girls there. These men that were there, I was like, do these guys brush their teeth and comb their hair? They walked in like bums. I was like, and anybody who knows me, I am not the Tom Cruise dresser. And I'm like, wow, that's sad if I am looking and I'm dressing and I'm groomed better than most of the men at this event. So I was like, we got to talk about this. So a lot of guys out there, they don't take good care of themselves, whether they're single or married. And I think especially you married folk, I think once people get married, it's a wrap, son. They're just like, I'm going to hell in a, gift bag. So let's talk about grooming. Okay, Magnus.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to add, because I have a question for you about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, no. So one thing that I want to kind of explain this, and I'm not trying to like step on anybody's toes or anything like that. But why is grooming important? Because it's a part of our health. If we skip out on it, our health takes actually a beating, and that's what we don't want to do.
Right. And nobody's saying dress like a billionaire, but just brush your teeth, comb your hair. Like literally, like this is what I saw at this event. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like these wearing clothes that fit you, that's not expensive. Like, and I'm guilty of these things in the past. So, okay, Magnus, like for instance, I'm not joking around. Okay, you have the bald look, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm down with that. One of these days, because you can't see, but it looks like I have a yarmulke behind me. If I show you guys, you'll see. And I said to myself, when it all goes, I'm not going to do the comb over. I'm doing Magnus. I'm just going whoop, and to each his own. If you want to do a comb over, God bless. But let me ask you, how many times in a month or a week do you have to reshave your head?
So it kind of depends. Usually I shave like 2 to 3 times a week. I know that some people shave like basically every day. I mean, it's so fast. It's actually better when you do it quite often because
the stubble's not strong.
And also, like with the shaving, it's like it's less hair that you actually have to remove if you do it more often, because actually the hair kind of grows quicker than if you're like bald or if you're shaving yourself, how quickly it actually can grow.
Right.
So that's why I'm usually trying to do like around 3 times, like every other day or so. So around 3 times a week.
Okay, now I think hair is a big one for us men and maybe some women. And by the way, I know. I've dated some women in the past. They were, bro. They had some like mustache thing going, hair. I don't know. Like even for men and women, right? So I want to bring that up. So for me, I'm not doing this thing yet, but I'm Italian, right? I'm Italian, and I have hair. Like when I go to the beach, the lifeguards are like, "Shoot that thing," meaning like I look like Sasquatch on the beach. So I have to. So I body trim like just to look normal.
Yeah.
So like for instance, I don't know. Like this is my arm, okay? That looks like a hairy guy's arm. That's shaved. I shave this down so I look like a hairy human being. If I don't shave, I swear to God, people who know me, the hair will grow up about an inch off my arm. Dude, it's like, what the hell? Who is this guy? So I have to shave just to look normal hairy. And my point is, a lot of guys don't do that. A lot of guys I see them out and about, whatever, especially summertime. It's like, wow, really, guy? We're walking around with tufts of hair coming, like, and I could do that too, but I'm like, no, man, you gotta trim, man, or at least trim it, like make it look like a nice tuxedo.
I mean, I do understand why certain people don't bother, and
it's cultural, like, maybe too.
Yeah. And also to each their own. Like it's like I'm not gonna think that you're a worse person if you're shaved or not.
Right, you do you.
But I do understand, like it, and it's also like both, like if you're single, yeah, you and if you're looking to find a partner or whatever, you still want to look like that you're actually taking care of yourself. And I think that's kind of one of the things why people like groom, they want to show that I'm actually taking care of what I got here. And like, but even if you don't, like, if you're settled and you have your marriage and your partner and things like that, I mean, like, if you're not doing it for them, do it for yourself, you
Yeah,
know?
you got
Like,
it's right. Especially if you have a job that's outside the house, maybe. Like, like you're going, by the way, I got to mention this one. I'm not okay. And I'm guilty of this. Well, I used to be guilty of this. Guys, especially men, us guys, talking about hair, you've got to trim the ear hair and the nose hair and maybe up here a little bit. And I'm guilty of this. And I'm going to tell kind of a funny story, but it was at my the joke was on me. But so many years ago, we had it's going to go bad. But all right, so many
yeah,
years
I'm
ago,
going to always start to laugh because I know
it's already it's going to be bad.
It's going south.
It's going south already. Yeah. Well, and anyway, so many years ago, we had like a secret Santa during Christmas, like, or whatever. We exchanged Christmas gifts when I was a teacher. So, and me and the other teachers were exchanging gifts, whatever. And I bought this person, whatever, a wallet, and somebody bought somebody a shirt, whatever. So I get a gift from this female teacher. Okay. And I open it up. Bro, I was like, oh, damn. It was nose hair trimmer. I was like, that's kind of effed up, number one, that she put me on blast like that in front of everybody. So that means that for months, this woman knew I had nose hair coming, and I couldn't see it. And I'm like, damn, she waited till December to give me this gift. And then she gave me the gift. It's in public. I'm like, woo. So, anyways, but
you have to have, like, first of all, she's a silent assassin.
Bro,
to start out with. That's like I don't know. And it is the same thing. Did she do it out of love or out of hate? That's what you start asking yourself.
Yeah, well, her and I, we used to always joke with each other, and I guess that was part of it. But anyways, that drove the point home because I'm like, you know what? Hey, I'll take the advice where I can get it. And bro, from that day on, I was like, it's rare you're gonna see a nose hair out of me, dude. I'm up there like, whatever. But my point is, like, a lot of people do that. Like, or I know guys. I knew this guy, great job, had a lot of money, full health care, full dental. Never, ever, ever went to the dentist. Teeth rotting black. I'm like, bro, I know you're afraid of the dentist, but damn, man, you look like you ate shit. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, gosh. Like,
that's something that I have to say. Like in Sweden, since we have like the healthcare and so dentists, like everybody basically go to the dentist, and also like having like retainers, everything, like fixing your, even if it's just like cosmetic, like people like most people do it. And like, yeah, you see a lot of people with their braces like in when you're like a teen and things like that. But I think that it helps a lot, and also that's one of the like thing that people are like super uncomfortable with when things are starting to kind of degrade and your mouth health is starting to become bad.
And this guy had money though. He had the insurance. Yeah. He wouldn't go. And I'm just like, bro, you gotta brush. You gotta like, don't tell me you don't have money to brush your teeth, bro. Comb your hair. Put your hand over your head. Go like this. You just did it. I mean, it's like, oh.
Yeah. No, but like, let's talk about mouth health. I mean, we talked about this before. Like the mouth and your health there, it's basically, that's the gateway into your body. So if you're not keeping that clean, your body is going to have issues with a lot of things. You're going to be plaque, it's going to be bacteria, and those things, when we start to see that actually affects our mental health and our digestion and things like that. So you're definitely undermining yourself. So what should you do, like the kind of basics when it comes to mouth health? I think that at least brushing your teeth twice a day. We're usually saying that it's a 2-minute rule, that you do like 30 seconds on each side. So the front of it, the back of it, and on the upper and the lower. So that's 2 minutes. I floss basically every night because I think that's important. It's also because during nighttime, we're not producing saliva as much, and we're not drinking water and washing ourselves. so you can have a bigger chance of getting more bacterial growth during nighttime. So that's why I usually floss at night.
And a rinse.
Yeah, of course. And also like rinse, like when you once you eat anything with like carbohydrates or anything in it, you should actually drink water and kind of rinse your mouth afterwards, or you're drinking soda or whatever it is. Uh, it, the thing why I start talking about flossing, I think this is kind of a fun how to look at it. Like when you're in the shower, it's not like you just like washing the back and the front of your body. You're actually washing the sides too.
You got to get up in the crack, yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically what you should do with the same thing with your mouth. I mean, the teeth, that you're actually taking like 3-dimensional thought about it.
Yeah. By the way, shower. You got dudes, especially guys. I hate to say it, usually the men. Bro, you shower. I got guys that I bump into in the past at coming to gyms or whatever, or work or something. But you smell like, come on, man.
Can I add something there?
Go.
Because sometimes it's not that they're not showering or not. It's actually their gym clothes or whatever they're working out in. Because if you're wearing the same gym clothes like you did in the 90s, first of all, you're out of style, which honestly I don't care about. But if you've been wearing the same thing for like several years or so, bacteria and things like that are actually starting going in there. And once your body heat kind of warms up those clothes, they're starting to smell, even if they're clean. So especially when you're doing like a lot of like the polyester and stretchy material and stuff like that, because they have a tendency to start smelling bad quicker. Now you're starting to see a lot of like the companies are figuring that out, so they're starting to add
nanotechnology, silver.
Yeah, metal threads or nanotechnology. So they have like silver or copper and things like that, or gold in it, which actually kills off bacteria. But anyhow, so think about that you actually like, you basically update your training outfit wardrobe once in a while too, and throw away the old stuff. And that goes for something like undershirts, underwear, socks, and anything like that.
And buy stuff.
Get rid of it, get new stuff.
And buy stuff that fits you. I know you do. I do. But I was guilty of this for decades. I would buy. I'm a medium, and I don't know what I was smoking, but I would buy extra large. Yeah. And I look at photos in the past. I'm like, why would I buy that stuff? Like, and it took bravo to the women in my life. They would say, Anthony, I had an ex-girlfriend take me shopping, and she's like, hey, you gotta please let me just. I'm like, fine. And I was like, wow. When you buy clothes that fit, you look better. I think sometimes guys don't pay attention, or they think that they're bigger than they are. It's like, guy, you ain't Hulk Hogan, bro. You ain't got those arms. Like, buy the shirt that fits you. Or they too short, too tight. But
or they're trying to wear large clothes, so they think that they look smaller than they do.
Right, they have a gut or whatever.
It's kind of the opposite effect. You look even worse. And I think that also, like, you had. Like, we're talking about the 90s, when a lot of like they were like loose wearing clothes, and like, you remember the kind of fridge suits.
Right. Well, that was the style though. That's a little different.
Yeah. But still, then also people like bought even bigger suits, so it looks like you're basically wearing your older brother's hand-me-down. Even if you're 50 years old, like, you're looking like a little kid wearing like completely wrong size clothes.
Right. And
no, I like the fitted style is better. And also, like, this is something that is kind of amusing. Like, when it comes to suits are actually built either like they're two body types that works good in suits. That's like if you're pretty skinny, like you're straight, or if you actually have a little bit more like round features, that you have a little bit of a stomach. Like, muscly guys that wears, it looks like we look like I'm saying we, but you look like a clown sometimes. Because
irregular shaping.
And you also need to fit it. Like, sometimes you need to adjust it so it actually fits your body type better. So like, for it to fit your arms and shoulders, it doesn't have to be ginormous down in your waist. You need to kind of have a more fitted waist for it.
By the way, there's an app, and I used it a couple of times. It's called M Tailor. M as in Mary. M Tailor. You get your phone. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you rotate your phone around you. The phone scans your body. you order whatever shirt or pant you want. It is 30% more accurate than a human tailor. I purchased stuff from the store, and they send it to you, mail it to you. Amazing. And so to your
Yeah.
point, when you get stuff that fits you, you actually feel better. And I'm not some fashionista, but anyways, I don't want.
But no. Let's keep on going. I want to say a couple of things more. Like, I think that you're pointing something out too. And for us men, we're so fortunate that we can wear basically the same suit over and over and over, and we get away with it.
Yeah, women
Like
can't do
women that will wear the same dress over and over, they can't. So
Yeah.
if you're a guy, you're lucky. And guys are more. It's easier for us men to buy clothes too because our bodies are more straight.
Right, we
Women
don't have
more
shape.
curves. Yeah, and it's like it's complete way more harder for them to get things.
Right.
But I mean, like I'm not saying that you should get a super expensive tailored suit, but you can buy it off the rack and then have it adjusted a little bit, and you are, like you said, you're gonna feel like $1 million because it's the same rule: look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah. Men out there, listen to the women in your life, your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your aunt, your grandma. They know. Guys, don't think for yourself. Okay, so you want to add anything else before we move on?
I love that idea. Like, even if you have a girlfriend, or if you're actually a couple of guys, if you have someone that is super interested when it comes to fashion and things like that, have them help you out. There's nothing wrong. We helped. Like, I remember we helped one of our friends out. We dude, you can't wear this brick wallet anymore. So we went out. We got him one of those
slim wallets.
Holders. Yeah. At least because when you're sitting on a giant wallet, you're gonna mess up your back and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So think about that, and also you don't need 15 cards. Especially when you're going out to dinner, just have your driver's license, a couple of cards, and that's it. Maybe some cash, and you're good.
Right. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, and you're right. There are some guys out there. I had a guy on the show a while back named Chris, and he's a he's a fashionista. He knows his stuff. I mean, he always looks like tip top, really good. Anyways, but all right, let's talk about this. Talking about grooming, kind of segue into we talked about muscles. So, okay, the other problem us men have after you pass the age of 30-ish is we start to develop the man boob. And now I'm an athletic guy. I'm not a couch potato, but I'm noticing I'm getting some side boobage. I'm like, no, dude. So I'm like, I said, I got to ask Magnus, like, what exercises can I do to, I don't even know if side boobage is a medical term, but anyways. So I was like, what could I do to work on and again, I don't want to brag, you know what I'm saying? But, I'm all right. I go to the beach, I represent, I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I'm no slouch. But I'm noticing, I'm 48. I mean, truth be told, I don't do the chest exercises that I should. I'm more about tennis and cycling. So, my chest is kind of like, nah. So I'm like, damn, son, I'm starting to notice a little droopage. Not a lot, but so what exercises, Magnus? Or you mentioned diet before. What's going on with us men?
So let's look at it a little bit more on a scientific terms here. So after the age around 35, both male and female, especially males, our hormones are starting to switch up a bit, and we're actually starting to lose muscle mass. It's going to be harder for us to maintain muscle mass or build new. So that's why it's important that you actually resistance train when you're getting older, because you want as much muscle mass on your body as possible. I'm not talking about you're going to be a pro bodybuilder, but we want to keep what we got because it keeps the metabolism up and all those things. So we lose about up to about 1% a year of muscle mass from the age of 35 and going forward. So if we're not doing anything for it. So that's why it's important that you keep on moving and training. Anyhow, when we're starting to see that's also what's happening. Our muscle tissue is starting to reduce. We're having less and less body, and our skin is not as flexible as before. So that's why we might have a little bit of droopage or whatever you want to call it. Let's start to get a little bit more loose skin. The next thing also, if we're not watching ourselves, we're starting to gain weight. So that's when we're starting to get the man boobs or whatever we want to call it. Or women says that they start to get the underarm flab and things like that. So that's what we're trying to stay away from. So I usually say this, like the thing is when people are saying a lot, when it's like, oh, I want to hit my outer chest or inner chest and things like that. It's not as easy of just taking a couple of exercises and doing them, because it has a lot to do with genetics. Either our muscles are gonna grow or they're gonna reduce themselves. So if you're hitting more, like getting more volume, so to say, on the outside of your chest or the inside of your chest, it's more a genetic thing. Like what genes did we get from our parents? So basically, just training our chest muscles will help out, and that will be mostly like pressing things, like when pressing away from us, and that's like pressing 180 degrees, basically from our arms straight down to our arms straight up.
Yeah.
One thing to kind of combat this, that we don't want the kind of the flat upper chest, is actually trying to train a lot of like more incline. So we're hitting a little bit more on the upper chest, because that's what usually you start losing the first. So and then like, so if you want to have things that are hitting more like the outside of your chest, it's going to be more like when we're talking about straight arm flies and things like that. And I'm like, I'd rather do those things like seated, for instance, if you're using like a cable machine or anything like that. So you're actually sitting on a bench and then like arms out and slightly bent, and then you're coming forward and then trying to squeeze your elbows together. So you're getting a good chest recruitment, all the muscles in there, trying to get. So certain times, and I think that cable flies are more safer to do than dumbbell flies, for instance. So I would do that. Of course. Yeah. So but still doing a lot of pressing movements, push-ups, different types of push-ups are excellent chest builders, and that's something that you don't need too much of equipment. You can actually do it wherever you're at.
Right. Yeah. No, because I mean, like I said, I'm not. Obviously, you can't. Eventually, you're just going to get man boobs, because if you make it to 110, you're not going to have the same body as when you were 20. So my thing is, though, just to mitigate and stave off the boobage, because I'm not even doing the chest exercises right now, and I'm like, okay, I really got to get on it, so at least I can curtail this and slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
start doing different types of push-ups. That I would start doing that. And then also another thing that people have a tendency to forget, like a lot of like how your upper body looks, it's actually like has to do a lot of like with your upper back. So I always say train your upper back basically twice the volume or amount that you're training your chest muscles or pressing muscles.
Latissimus dorsis, they're huge muscles. We forget about that.
Yeah. But you also want, because you also want to stabilize it. You don't want to be the guy like, you remember Marky Mark, then like very like when he was young, he was like very like forwardly rotated.
Right.
Like yeah, a lot of pressing and not as much pulling like he should be. Now he's looking at it, Mark Wahlberg today, I mean, he's in tremendous shape. And he's like constantly training, and he loves training, and he's promoting it and things like that. So a little bit more like functional and actually more aesthetic looking today than he was like when he was a teenager.
Yeah. So and by the way, to your point, right, guys out there and women out there, I don't think Magnus is recommending, and nor are we saying that you have to be pressing 1,000 pounds. Even just simple push-up, even a simple push against the counter. You're at your office, get up every 15 minutes and do 10 or 20. Like that adds up. So, because I'm a big fan of calisthenics, I'm not a big fan of the weights, honestly. But I'm not even doing push-ups, so I need to start doing that at least.
Push, like if we're talking about pure calisthenics, I would do different types of push-ups for sure. And then you also have like the dips, when you're doing the
dips are great.
Yeah, so you can do like to hit a little bit more on chest on that, is that you're leaning slightly forward with your upper body more.
Yeah.
And that's going to hit your chest a little bit more than I mean, it hits a lot of the triceps, but that's more kind of the chest dips, if you want to call it that way.
Right. No, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Now moving on to our last thing. Is okay. We always like to highlight a body part or a something in the human body that does something to educate. So we always hear a lot about the small intestine, and I think the poor small intestine, it gets shit on, no pun intended, but nobody cares about the small intestine. It's all about, get your colonoscopy, the colon, the stomach, the lungs, the heart, the brain, but you very rarely hear about the small intestine, and it's a big part of our human body, and it's like, What the hell does the small intestine do? I don't even know. So what does the small intestine do, Magnus?
So to be honest, like the small intestines is probably like one of the most important parts of our digestion and our GI tract, because that's basically where the body absorbs most of the nutrients and water, and it also continues helping breaking down food that is coming from our stomach. So what happens? Okay, mouth, then we go through the throat, everything down, it comes to the stomach, and then after the stomach we have the small intestine, and the small intestine is divided into three parts. And I have to write this down because I always like miss out like the name of it. I know them, but
it's the
like
genium, the ileum.
yeah, and then the ileum. So yeah, so
Yeah.
do ye ill. If you do remember those, then you know the different parts. Yeah. So and then of course after the small intestines we have the large intestine, but we're not going to talk about the large intestines today. So
right. Oh, by the way, the large intestine, that's not the colon.
No. The colon comes afterwards.
Oh, okay, so small intestine, large intestine, colon.
Yeah, so the colon is kind of the end part of the large intestine, but it's not like it doesn't have that function. It has other functions to do. So let's look at it like it's long, you know, but it kind of, depending on the individual, it differs in length quite a lot. So basically from around 3 meters, which is about 10 feet, up to over 10 meters, which is about 35 feet. So
I guess the longer it is, the more nutrients you can absorb.
Yes, and this is something that is interesting. Like if you compare us to for dogs, in like for instance, dogs have way shorter intestines. So and that's why, like small intestine, and that's why they have a hard time using carbohydrates as one of their main sources of energy. They're better off with fat and protein. So just to kind of see how nature has solved this. So depending on what we're eating, because we are eating basically all types of different things, right? So that's why we have to have a fairly long intestines to be able to take care of the nutrients that we're eating. So I mentioned this before. What happens? Okay, goes from the stomach. A lot of the food has been broken down into smaller pieces and things. So that continues. We're getting a lot of, like, you have the bile. You're getting in more enzymes and things like that breaks this down into small particles. We're talking about we're molecule size, basically. We're going down to amino acids or peptides, which is basically a couple of amino acids together. We basically get free fatty acids, and we're getting basically going down to smallest part of carbohydrates. So it's basically simple free sugars, or a couple of them added together, because we need to be able to absorb the things going from our small intestines into the bloodstream. So that's why a lot of blood vessels are going into the small intestines, because the blood needs to actually pick up, absorb all the nutrients, bring it over to the liver, and then the liver is going to take care of it and see that we don't have any issues, and that it's like bad things coming in.
So the small intestine's main function is to absorb nutrients.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yeah. And then extract water. The water also goes into our bloodstream and then moves the water around in our bodies. And of course, it actually helps, like the small intestines helps like breaking down the food and moving the food along the way, and also what becomes things that, like, basically we're talking about the poop in the end. So it just keeps on pushing things forward and things like that. So small intestine, super important.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we don't realize, again, going back to how miraculous the human body is, again, you don't have to look for a miracle. Look in the mirror. The fact that our bodies function every second and how they function, the small intestine. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it is really a miracle. It's just awe-inspiring. It really, it's just like, wow, like that was a design. Somebody designed that, like that doesn't happen. But so big shout out to you, small intestine.
Yeah. No, take care of it. And that's why it's like so important also, like having eating the right bacteria and things like that, that you actually giving your intestines, because the intestines have to have like different bacteria to help break food down for us. So
yeah, mentioning that, right? So yeah, if you want to take care of your small intestine and your whole gut, eat pickles, eat sauerkraut, eat kimchi, eat fermented foods, certain types of
fiber.
yogurt, fiber, right?
Yep.
Fruits, vegetables. Those are the good carbohydrates you want to put in there. And right, our
Yep.
small intestines, our bodies need fiber. We talked about this in nauseum so many times, Magnus. But we live in America where it's fried this, fried that, fried French fries, fried this, fried that, fried, and then processed carbs, bread, cake, cookies, cake, bread. We need fruits, vegetables. Eat the orange. Don't drink the orange. These are all good things for our small intestine. I've been eating every day. I take a tablespoon of sauerkraut as like a vitamin, and I hate. I hate sour. I'm not even. It is so nasty. But I'm like, that's how important sauerkraut is. So I buy it or I eat a pickle. That's like my vitamin in the morning, along with other things. But I make sure every single day I get that pre and probiotic from the sauerkraut and kimchi. I don't have to tell you, but two of the most powerful foods we can eat. So big shout out to Korea, and big shout out to, I guess, the Germans made sauerkraut. I don't know. But anyways, that's amazing. But yeah, Magnus, before we wrap up, anything you want to add?
Not really. I think it was like a good mix of questions. I like, it's so funny to talk. We're all over the place, but hopefully everybody find this like informative and useful. If anybody has any comments, please leave them, and we'll try to catch up. And if we're not answering straight away, we might answer them in a future episode or something like that.
Yeah.
So again, like, I think it's so important that you guys that listen to us, that you're involved in this show, and we can hear your questions and what you want to know more about and things like that. And
yeah, ask Magnus and myself, especially Magnus, and he's the professional about what we're eating to stay healthy. And Magnus is an athlete, so am I still. Like I said, I compete in tennis tournaments and triathlons and 5Ks, and Magnus has got his a business for nutrition and fitness. So again, not that we're the end all be all, we're not God, but exchange ideas. Hey, what's working for you? What's not working for you? Whatever. Like, I just started to incorporate the sauerkraut every morning. That's so important to the human gut. Eat that sauerkraut, and I hate it. But anyways, all right. So Magnus, thank you, everybody. Check back in. We got a bunch of other great shows coming up, and so that is that Wellness Week. Hit the like, subscribe, all that stuff. Magnus, thank you as always, my man. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for having me. A pleasure.
You got it, guys.